We are back. The Puck Bros are back. I am Brett. That's my brother Nolan. And after a few
Yep.
months, after so much has happened, I was checking back on our last episode, and we were talking about the Avalanche being 2-4. That was a
Whoa.
that was what we were talking about. Um,
Yeah,
I,
that's what cursed them this season.
That's right. Yes, they were destined for failure after that. But there's been a lot that's happened, but we're going to focus on what's going on right now. The Stanley Cup Final starts in just a few days. There's some free agency talk already going on, and of course, the draft is not too far from now, with it already being June. But we're going to talk about all that stuff. Let's get it started. Here we go. And as I mentioned, the Stanley Cup Final starts Wednesday. And guess what? The Panthers are back again for the third straight time. This is something you would have never thought would have happened even 5 years ago. Crazy.
Jealous. Nashville finished almost dead last. How about that?
One day they will go on this run. I hope. At least
I
something
doubt it.
similar. Hey, I
It's
thi-
hard to make the Stanley Cup 3 times in a row.
except if you live in the state of Florida and you don't have to pay
For some
income
reason.
taxes, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Although in Tennessee,
They're hacking.
Tennessee also knows no
I mean, we
state.
convinced a lot of free agents to come here. They just didn't do good.
They're already you got to sign the younger ones. That was the issue. Side Stammer, who's past his prime. Marchessault, he should have been better. Marchessault should have been better. And I think Brady Shea, he was probably fine. I mean, he's not a scorer. He's just supposed to
Mhm.
be a good defender. Not impressed.
Eh. It was just a bad year. Like all of our prospects had down years. It was not a good season for the sad Nashville Predators.
Well, you kept your first round pick, so you got that going for you. Um,
There's a huge plus.
like if the Panthers end up doing horrible here in the next any of the next 3 seasons, they don't have their pick. So it actually might even be four. I have lost track of how much Zito has traded away draft wise, but
Yeah,
it
he just does not care about those draft picks.
and when you have success, who does care? It just doesn't
Yeah.
matter. You build your team through free agency. But yes,
Mhm.
the Panthers are back and the Oilers are back again. McDavid angrier than ever, of course. But the question I have to start us off here is, what was the biggest surprise for you of these playoffs?
uh, Out of all the surprises, I thought the Capitals were gonna make it to the Eastern Conference Final, and then I don't know. I never believe in the Jets. They're always inconsistent, but um, and then other than that, I guess the biggest, I guess like there wasn't really too many big upsets this
No,
year.
not really.
I mean, we got the same teams made the final, but they were both third place, like in their in their
Divisions, yeah.
division. So, but they still made it to the cup and faced the same team in the East in the conference finals to do so, and just like spanked them again.
Uh, I think you're pretty much spot on. There's not wasn't it? No one was shocked by anything. Everything went pretty much how a lot of people projected. Apparently, this was the second most likely final to happen. Someone was sharing that it was Edmonton versus Carolina was the most likely, and then Edmonton versus Florida the second most likely. That was shown. That was what they projected before the
Hmm.
season started. Um, I think the biggest surprise is that the Oilers have not been favored in a single playoff series, and pretty much
Why?
I don't know. That's why I'd say it's a surprise. Everyone expected LA. This is finally going to be the year they get it done. They did not. Um, And then, well, Vegas will take care of them in round two. There's fine. Smoked. Dallas, they've been here 3 times. Surely this year they get to the final. Nope. Edmonton's back. And now people are projecting Edmonton to get it back against Florida. So now they've reversed it.
Hmm.
So we'll see now that they
I
have been favored.
I did get an interesting fact from a YouTube video today.
Okay.
Every time there's been back-to-back cup, I think the uh, the team that lost
Since
it the first year wins it the second.
since the expansion era, I believe that is true. Um,
Yeah,
because back in the original six, you'd have
16s.
repeat
Yeah.
finals all the time. Yeah.
Hmm.
But the last 2 times it's happened, which it's only happened 2 times since the
Yeah.
80s. You had um, Pittsburgh and Detroit in 0809. Detroit won in 08, Pittsburgh won in 09. Then you had to go all the way back before the Gretzky era Oilers took over in 1983. It was the Islanders and Oilers, and the Islanders won. Rematch
Hmm.
next year in '84, and the Oilers won. So
Yeah.
the trend could continue, or,
Well, we
or
got back-to-back cup champions.
and it would be nice because all the Tampa fans will be holding it over us like you're still the little bros. You only won 1 cup out of the 3 chances.
Yep. It's hard.
It's Yeah. That's why this rarely happens. Even in Chicago's dynasty, they never repeated. They won 3 cups, but it was in 2010, 2013, and 2015. So
Yeah. Then the Kings won it in 2012 and 2014.
yep, that's right. So yeah, only repeat in recent history. Well, no, I guess there's 2, right?
No,
Sorry
we
to
got
bring the
Pittsburgh and Tampa.
sorry to bring that one up. Yes, Tampa repeated obviously, and then Pittsburgh did repeat.
They
Beat up.
beat the two likable teams, the Sharks and the
I think
Predators.
I think people were majority rooting for San Jose and Nashville in those finals because Crosby
Yeah.
already won his cup. He's fine. Like,
I think Colton Sissons was our number one center because of how many injuries we had.
it would be interesting if it was a healthy Preds team. Probably put up a better fight.
Yeah,
But there's
would be a
there's
bit more
another
interesting.
thing to talk about is the Panthers are pretty much coming in fully healthy. I've been doing a lot of checking in on them. AJ Greer is hurt, but I mean he's a fourth line guy. I'm not really worried about that. And then for Edmonton, they lost Zach Hyman for the entire finals. Even if it goes 7, they don't have Zach Hyman. Uh-oh. Might have lost Nolan there. We'll get him back. Don't worry.
Sorry about that.
Welcome back.
Sometimes South Carolina internet sucks.
Glad you're back. But just to quickly recap you, in case you missed any of it, I was saying Zach Hyman is hurt, and
Hmm.
even if the series goes 7, he cannot return. How much of an impact
Hmm.
do you think that's going to make for the Oilers?
Well, I mean, what was it? What did he do last year? Because I think last year he was like really, really good.
Well, he was a 50-goal scorer in the regular season,
Hmm.
so yeah,
So yeah, it's obviously a huge miss because that's probably their top. Out of all their guys, it's their top winger. I would say safe bet. And
unless Draisaitl goes wing, but he's mostly a
yeah,
center.
exactly. So I would say it's definitely a going to be a huge factor into it. So that just means someone's got to step up.
Yeah, and I would say to the benefit of the Oilers, people already have stepped up. I mean, Corey Perry is
Hmm.
like I think one of their best scorers right now in the playoffs. And you got Nugent Hopkins who's playing very well. Jeff Skinner's only played 2 games and he has 2 points. So, um,
Hmm. Yeah. So from looking at it, it's Evander Kane.
Vander Kane, yep,
From like their four obvious guys are McDavid, Draisaitl, Nugent Hopkins, and Bouchard.
that's right,
Then
Evan
you got
Bouchard.
Kane, Corey Perry, Connor Brown's even contributed. I forgot Adam Henrique's on this team. Adam Henrique, he has 4 goals. That ain't bad. Victor Arvidsson's on the Edmonton. Don't forget about him.
I never do.
Only one goal, four assists. Ekholm just came back recently, so now their defense is better. So it's all about just someone who can step up, and they have plenty of depth options who can do so.
These are the two strongest teams in the NHL right now for sure. I mean, Edmonton,
Hmm.
even though everyone talks about them just kind of be a two-man team, that's just not the case. They have two clear stars, but they have incredible depth. I think the Panthers have more stars in the sense that like you have Barkov, Kachuk, Reinhardt, like those three guys that are going to be kind of like stars in a series. But then we
So
have,
one more star.
well, I mean,
Unless you want to count goalie,
oh, you got
Bobrovsky's a star
Bobrovsky. Yes,
goalie.
correct. Bobrovsky would be the other one, and it feels like that's where the Panthers are at advantage. But at one point, Skinner had the most hilarious statistic in every loss. He was 3-4 at one point. This isn't true anymore, but at one point it was. He was 3-4. In his 4 losses, he got blown out hard, like allowing like 5 or 6 goals, and his 3 wins were all shutouts. Like it was so you don't know which Stuart Skinner you're gonna get.
Yeah, currently I would say he's doing really good.
Yes, he is.
I mean, Calvin Pickard was like the goalie for a bit. He was 6-0 in all 6 games he started. It's not like he was good. I mean, look at the stats: 284 goals against, an 888 save percentage. So it wasn't like him winning the games by himself, but
No,
at least he was winning games per se. But right now I think they're gonna go with Stuart Skinner
you have to.
most likely.
I think Edmonton is willing to switch it. Like if the Panthers
Hmm.
do what they did to Carolina, I don't think they will, to be honest. But if they do, like just all of a sudden win like 6-1 in game 1, I could see Edmonton being like, we're gonna put Calvin Pickard in game 2. They feel like they're pretty even at this point and give them the same
Hmm.
opportunity to win.
Maybe not after one game, but because I
2.
think Stuart Skinner has kind of led them. But compared to like the Panthers, even the Panthers go down 3-0, they're going to start Bobrovsky. Who's your backup? Vanacek?
Tag Vanacek. That's right.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to go with him anytime soon. But for Edmonton, it's usually changing a goalie, especially when it's between two guys like this. It's kind of just to like see if something sparks up your
Right.
team.
Exactly. Yeah. So let's get to predictions, and I'm gonna. I have my biases. Obviously, I've seen
Hmm.
Panthers in 6, and I'm like, that feels good to me. Panthers in 6, but I have this feeling it could end up going Edmonton in 5. Like McDavid, crazy angry. He scores a hat trick in like at least 2 games. I think that is very possible. So my bias says Panthers in 6, and then my pessimistic side says Edmonton in 5.
Okay. So I think this is definitely possibly going to a 6 or 7 game series. I think that's always a safe bet. And mainly what you want as a sports fan who doesn't really care about.
Wow.
I know, I'm sorry. I have a soft spot for the Panthers. But overall, I'm going to probably go with, I think I definitely want the Panthers to win. I think Edmonton losing twice in a row would be bad for Canada. So I predict this time Edmonton in 6.
And like so with my pessimistic side, part of me is like, I think I'll be all right emotionally if the Panthers do lose this final because we won that cup last year. Like imagine another world where we did blow that series of 3-0,
Yeah.
losing 7. Already I was questioning, I'm like, okay, will I ever watch hockey again if the Panthers blow this? And if we
Are in history books for the wrong reasons.
and if they came back to the final, like so they still were able to come back to the final. It's Edmonton versus
Hmm.
Florida. It would be hard to continue being a Panthers fan. I mean, that think about the
Losing
so
3 cups
three
in a
cups in a
row.
row.
It's the Buffalo Bills.
So you can actually make a hockey reference here, not as well known because it's hockey, But in the late 60s, the St. Louis Blues went to three
Oh
straight Cup finals,
yeah.
got swept all three times. That is
Like, what?
bad.
Why even stay a fan?
They
And you have to wait until 2019 till they actually won a
2019.
cup.
Oh man. That they never
What an
went back to a
interesting
cup. They
franchise.
never went back to a cup either. It was they made it in those three times in the 60s and then never made it again until 2019 and won it.
That year was crazy.
That was
Oh, Boston, I think, is who they beat.
Boston, yep. I say it was almost as crazy a run as the 2012 Kings, because the Kings came
Down
in with.
3-0.
Well, I was gonna say the Kings just came in with these low expectations. They were eighth place, and then all of a sudden they went. They like dominated. They like didn't even go to like seven. Everything was like 6 or 5 games in their playoff
Yeah.
series. With St. Louis, they were 32nd. No, sorry, 31st. There weren't 32 teams yet.
Hmm.
31st in the NHL standings halfway through. End up making the playoffs, which was already impressive. And then they go to the Cup final. So yeah, it kind of reminded me
Yeah.
of the Kings a little bit there. The Panthers definitely
It,
not that. The expectation is they need to win the cup, and the same is for Edmonton.
yeah. Yeah, both of these teams are like, we got to win the cup.
This is their window.
Because after this season, I think the Panthers are definitely going to be affected more heavily, I think, as we move on to the next topic
Yes, so we can
in the off season.
move on from the playoffs. I mean, the finals are still happening, so these kind of talks that we're about to get into, which is free agency, will continue to grow and get more complicated as the weeks go on. But let's talk about a team the Panthers beat, and everyone's favorite team to talk about, really, the Toronto Maple Leafs. Uh, they got disappointed in a horrible way. It seemed like this was finally going to be their year. They make a deep playoff run, and they were poised to do it. Up 2-0 in the series, up 3-1 in Game 3, and the Panthers said, "You know what? We let you have your fun. We let you have your hope. It's gone now." They come back in Game 3 to win in overtime with Brad
They're
Marchand.
cursed.
Brad Marchand winning that game in overtime, and then they win 3 in a row. They let them have a little bit of hope one more time by letting them win Game 6 shutout fashion, by the way. And then Game 7, they're
Mm.
like, "This is how we're gonna play." A 6-1 victory in a Game 7. Horrible, horrible in the Maple Leaf Stadium, and obviously fans
It
question
happened twice.
twice. Yes, they lost 6-1.
They lost in the 6-1 twice in their stadium.
So bad, and fans obviously in a riot, being like, something is wrong with this team, something's wrong with this roster makeup. You're currently in a situation where Mitch Marner is poised to be a unrestricted free agent. John Tarveas is going to be an unrestricted free agent. Matthew Nyes is a restricted free agent. Obviously, they can figure out a way to retain him, but offer sheets are always there. Now, I'll say this: Tarveas and Nyes both said they want to stay in Toronto, but what do you want to do to shake up this roster? Here is a big chance to make big changes. I say you do it. Something clearly is not allowing them to get over the hump. And I mean, just letting Mitch Marner walk is going to suck for them, losing him for nothing. But it might just something that needs to happen.
Yeah, I mean, the Leafs have like done so much in order to try winning with the core four guys
Right.
of Nylander, Matthews, Tarveus, and Marner. And you knew the risk of. I think they were trying to get Mikko Rantanen, but Marner was saying no to the deal.
That's right. The Maple
So
Leafs agreed to a trade with the Hurricanes to send Mikko Rantanen for Marner, but Marner said, I ain't going there." So
yeah, so it's very. So now they are possibly going to lose him for nothing. I'll say possibly because you never know. I think they'll end up keeping Nyes and Tarveus. I think Tarveus will sign like a huge team friendly deal, possibly. It could be like one of those weird ones where it's like $5 million for 8 years or something.
Uh, quick note.
He
Yanni
is pretty
Gord.
old though.
Did you see Yanni Gord signed a deal like
I
that
just saw
today?
that. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's 2 point something for six
yeah,
years. It's
two
very
point three.
David
Yeah,
Poley,
yeah, yeah. So
David Poley esque.
5 million for 8 years, probably. That's a contract that's still going to hurt you down the line, but I think that probably
Yeah,
benefits them for at least these two or
in the
3 years.
now.
Yeah,
Yeah, something like that. Or he's definitely not gonna. If he goes to free agency, I think he'll definitely get like a first liner 8 to 9 million
he
type
he needs
deal,
to.
maybe even 10.
He's going to sign back with the Islanders as they're got poised to get the first overall pick, and they have a new GM. So
Yeah, maybe. I would he even want to go back after the Islanders were like so
no,
mean to him when he
the,
left.
the fans were
Um,
awful.
no, I think the only place Tarveus I see staying is Toronto, and then Nyes are gonna work. I think from the cap that they'll gain from losing Marner plus the salary cap going up, they'll use on Nyes. Oops, my headphones came out. But um, I don't know what the Leafs can do other than maybe because they had good goaltending this year. They had a good defense this year. It's just when the moment comes, it just feels like they just don't show up.
Yeah, and that's like it's a culture thing, and that's why a lot of fans, and it seems like a drastic thing to say, but maybe you trade Matthews. Maybe there's someone out there who's better fit to lead this team. If is it's would be a big shakeup, but here's an example. People probably,
Matthews for McKinnon.
but here's an example people probably overused at this point. But the Panthers traded a guy who finished third place in Hart Trophy votes, had the greatest scoring season in franchise history, traded him because they got swept in the second round for Matthew Tkachuk, very different player, physical player, more kind of I talk my game almost as much as I show it. And that move led to three straight Eastern Conference championships, a Stanley Cup. Sometimes you got to be willing to make giant moves like that, and Toronto might have to.
Yeah, and they didn't with the Marner trade. But that's the problem when you give all these guys no trade
Right.
clauses.
You're right. They did try to. They tried to do a big shakeup. You're
Yeah.
absolutely right.
So all you're gonna do now is probably lose them, and I think with the idea of trading Matthews, I don't think is the plan, but you also like see like him and the team just not showing up in game 7 or game 5, or you could have been up 3-1 or 3-0 in those two games and you lose both of them. Like you said they were up 3-1 in game 3?
That's correct.
Yeah, so it's like something is obviously, and I think they got rid of the president, Brendan Shanahan.
They
So
they let him walk. His contract was
they let
up,
him walk.
and they
Yeah.
didn't. They chose not to renew it.
So either, yeah, I think this offseason is definitely going to be one of their more interesting ones because I definitely think one or two of those pieces are going to be gone. Not William Nylander though. I think they just re-signed him.
His big contract started this year, and he's still got 7 more years on it. So he's sticking around.
Yeah, I
Um,
think he's good.
One shakeup could potentially be. I've been seeing this rumor floating around. Jason Robertson apparently available for trade, according to some Dallas insiders. There might be no truth to that. Who knows? But the rumors have begun to fly. So those are two teams right on the cusp of something great. They get deep in the playoffs, or they get into the playoffs every year and compete, and they need something to shake up. Could the switching up there? You've already got Nick Robertson on Toronto. He'd get his brother. That would be
Hmm.
pretty cool. I don't know. I'd be shocked if Dallas traded Jason Robertson, to be honest.
That would be pretty shocking. But I think if the, let's say like even the Maple Leafs did try to acquire him, I mean you would have to trade a lot. You're thinking like possibly multiple first round picks and Yeah, it would be interesting to see them trade them. I wonder what the trade would look like.
It'd be a big one, but it's been a while. I feel like there hasn't been. I guess the Miko Rand trade was pretty big, but there's not been this major star for star deal since the Kachuk Huberdeau trade. And I
I
feel
mean, yeah, you're right.
yeah. And we can talk about the Panthers a little bit more. I think you were alluding to this earlier when you're saying the Panthers window might be
Hmm.
having a little issues. So this is going to be an interesting offseason even for them. Sam Bennett is going to be a unrestricted free agent potentially. Aaron Ekblad is
Yeah,
going to
and
be an unrestricted free agent potentially. Brad Marchand, who has clicked on this team incredibly well,
yeah,
who are any of them going to stay? Can Are the Panthers going to be able to keep anyone? They have the cap space to potentially do it if the players take team friendly deals, but it's going to be tight.
yeah. I mean, it would be crazy to see them able to keep all of them. I mean, Sam Bennett could easily make like. Do you remember the contract Nazem Kadri got? That's what I'm thinking.
Trying to
He'll
remember.
probably end up getting.
Let me look up Nazem. You're talking about with the Flames, correct?
Yes,
Let's
where
see.
it's like a random team just froze him like $10 million
Is it making 10 million?
or
Oh,
however much Nazem Kadri's making.
I'm pulling it up
He's
here.
making way too much. That's all I
7 mil. So not 10 mil,
know.
but uh, still a lot of money.
Okay, so well, Sam Bennett's gonna make more than that possibly, just because of the type of player he is. Like you could see like a team like, oh, we won't make the playoffs and we need a Sam Bennett, and maybe we're just like the Maple Leafs. Like let's say you lose Marner and Tavares and you use that money to bring in Sam Bennett, just to be like, well, the Panthers are making the cups with it. Let's just get this guy.
I think whatever he ends up getting, unless he stays in Florida, will be an overpay. And it will always be seen that because Sam
Hmm.
Bennett is not a regular season player. He is like a 40,
No.
50 point guy. Like, and he's now when the playoffs,
Yeah,
like,
so each year since being traded to Florida, he's 49 points, 40 points, 41 points. This year, most recently, 51 points.
so yeah, he's just now as a 50 point player. So if you're paying uh most guys who are if they're a 40 point guy and you're paying them 9 million potentially, like
Yeah.
that is too much.
Yeah,
Like
but in the playoffs, he got 10 goals and 6 assists and almost point per game.
I
That will translate into the regular season, and we will make the playoffs every single year.
I like I said, someone a
That's why I
team.
feel like a team like Toronto, that would fit pretty good. It would be an overpayment to get him, obviously, because you're doing like the open market. But if you're like a team that consistently makes the playoffs, like for Toronto, the regular season, they usually just make the playoffs and then they suck. So to bring in like a guy like Sam Bennett, that would probably be really good for them because I don't think because anytime Toronto like brings in tough guys, they're like the four flying
Yeah, like
goons
Scott Laughton.
that aren't yeah, like they're not skilled or getting points at all, like Matthew Fachuk or Sam Bennett, who are mean, but they also get they're also like very productive
Right.
and like aren't just in their own zone all the time trying to hit people. Like four flying guys usually are four. They're usually just there out playing defense and trying to hit people and maybe get a scoring chance every once in a while.
You're making a good point that like you can't just bring in depth and expect that to take you over the hump. You need to bring in top six
Hmm.
guys to kind of make that
Yeah, and Sam
impact.
Bennett is a top six guy,
Right.
despite like his like mid numbers, but what he brings like in like what the type of player he is to piss off the opponents. It's what
It's kind of interesting. If
helps.
this guy is a first line center, he's basically just an angrier Stephen Weiss. Like that's what
Yes.
he would be because he
Yeah, if Barkov didn't exist,
right, exactly.
you would just have an angry man at first. Just a more angry man on
Right.
the first line.
And that's the thing I think a lot of people like when they're thinking about the Panthers. They're thinking about Bennett and they're thinking about Kachuk, but they forget the guy who just won his third Selkie Award, Alexander Barkov. It all kind of
It's
starts
because he's so
with him.
quiet. He's so quiet. He's so nice.
That's what they say. Um, but it is kind of like he kind of gets lost in that, and that's probably on purpose. Like Bennett and Kachuk make all the noise so Barkov can succeed and play his quiet game. You kind of
Exactly.
need both.
And like him, he's usually on a line with Reinhardt, right?
When we first made the cup and lost to Vegas, Reinhardt was actually our third line winger with Lundell,
Mm-hmm.
and I can't remember who was on the first line. Uh, feels like so long ago. But yeah,
I know it's been forever since a game has been played.
but since the second year, Reinhardt's been a top line guy with Barkov. It was only that first
Yeah,
year, in 2022-23, where Reinhardt was playing on the third line. Ever since then, he's been a first line guy easily.
yeah. I mean, yeah. So you got like your annoying players and like I know now we're just kind of talking about the Panthers, but also like
Oh
kind of
no,
bringing up off season stuff. But like I feel like just overall they're like with losing guys like possibly like Bennett, possibly Marchand, even though I think Marchand wants to stay there, if
mm-hmm.
I'm assuming.
It seems
That's
like it.
that was like the one team he wanted to get traded to, right?
He
Yeah,
that's
I
why
think
that's
I
why we
think
were
that's the
able to
only
give
team
up.
like he was willing to get traded to.
That's why we got him for just the second round pick. It's a first round pick now, because of the condition.
It's a
Uh,
first round pick now.
but at the time, it was just the second round pick. So yeah, the Bruins weren't going to accept that
Yes, and
if they had other options.
yeah, so I think those will be two pretty big losses. I think if they lose both of them, but I think it'll be really hard to keep Sam Bennett for them. I think someone will have to step up. I think Anton
And
Lundell and
Lundell,
E2 Lusterrainen are probably your best bets.
right? Well, Lundell can be a second line center. Absolutely, I'm not really worried about that. It's just,
Hmm.
it's good to have like basically.
It's just he's
I think we were about to say the same thing. Like you got that good strong
yeah,
center
yeah, yeah.
depth.
Go ahead.
We have my cat is running around like mad, and that is distracting me like crazy.
Oh, I was wondering. She has the zoomies.
Oh, it's the zoomies bad, absolutely right now. But we can talk about some
Hmm.
other big free agents names. So I was kind of like looking through the upcoming UFAs, and it's actually it's not like the strongest free agent class. There's a potentially stronger one coming out of Fuse, but there's some big names here. Jamie Benn is going to potentially be an unrestricted agent.
That one's odd.
He has not signed an extension with Dallas. What's up with that?
I'm
Uh,
assuming he's retiring.
no way. He's not that old yet.
I'm assuming he's retiring.
You got Brock Besser, who is already confirmed to be unrestricted free agent, pretty much confirmed
Yeah.
from Vancouver media. So that'll be a big free agent pickup potentially for people. Claude Giroux, big question mark there. He's been decent in Ottawa. He's obviously not the player he was in Philadelphia, but still, that's some decent pickup for our team. Brent Burns, 41-year-old Brent Burns, he could be a free agent. Another Carolina defenseman,
That would be
Dmitry
funny.
Orlov, is available. He had a terrible
Oh my gosh.
series.
Okay. Orlov was awful.
Awful.
I don't think just because of that playoffs, I think he lost so much money.
Probably. And then Patrick Kane. He could potentially go to another
Mm.
original six team. He needs to go to
You know what?
Toronto and
I could see
Montreal
Patrick Kane because I think another big name.
or
I'm
Boston.
not sure when you made this, but Jonathan Tays is possibly coming back.
I did see that. I didn't include his name in the
So
notes. Sorry.
I know it's all right. So I'm wondering if those two like reunite in
Ooh, that would
Chicago
be
with Connor
fun.
Bednar.
I like that
Yeah.
idea a lot, actually.
Hmm.
You get the new star Connor Bedard already kind of establishing himself in the league, and then you bring back the legends from the 2010 team, Patrick Kane and Jonathan
Yeah.
Tays. That's a really good idea. I hope they do that.
Yeah. The Blackhawks just suck though. They are really bad. They need to do something for Bednar because they it's not like they're improving. It's not like they're like still dead last every time.
So I gotta fix something. You're saying like Bednar, like Coach Bednar of the Avalanche, Connor Bedard.
Bedard, my bad.
It would be fun if they were related,
So
the
yeah.
Bednar.
Yeah.
Dumb Canadians having
Oh
all
man,
the
but
same
I
close
think
to
out of that
names.
list, I would definitely say Besser is probably the biggest name out of all of those. Um, what? How did he even do this year? Let me check.
He definitely didn't put so
Because I know Vancouver had a really
yeah.
disappointing year overall.
So he is a 40 goal scorer, just not this most
Hmm.
recent season.
Yeah, this recent season he had a bad year, kind of. He was just a 50-point guy.
Right.
When that's usually what he is. So since 2018, actually, the 2017-18 season, he's consistently in the 50 or 40 point mark. I mean, there were years when he was only playing 57 games and was 45 points, 49 points. Then two full seasons of kind of disappointing. That's when Vancouver was like really bad and
Oh yeah.
all that. And then last year when they had their, I think they were like first place, right?
Yet I think they won their
Last year they
division.
had like a really good year.
They won their division.
Hmm. So yeah, that's the year he was a 40 goal guy, and then this year the whole Vancouver team just kind of everyone did bad.
Everyone had a
I
down year.
think. Yeah, so I think just he definitely needs a change of scenery. I felt like it feels like he's been trade rumors forever, and now he's finally going to be out of Vancouver.
Right.
So it'll be interesting to see where he goes. I wonder because I feel like there's probably a team that makes sense for him, like maybe after Carolina butchered the Ratton deal and we're like, okay, never mind, get him away. They might go after him because I know they really want. So
You know
yeah,
what
I
would
think that
be
might be. And then Claude Giroux.
I was gonna say one more
Sorry, you
thing
go
real
ahead.
quick. So with Carolina, what would be really funny is if Mitch Marner signs
Oh
with
my god.
Carolina after blocking the trade.
I am predicting Marner's going to be a mammoth.
That
Don't
has
quote
been
me.
a popular prediction, actually.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to predict that. I
U-
like that prediction.
Utah has been rumored in a lot of these big names. You're like Claude Giroux, Brock Besser, just because they have so much money and they're like this young,
Yeah.
exciting new team. So people are like, yeah, it'd be cool if they got this guy. If they got this guy, Jamie Benn, a Utah Mammoth. You know,
Yeah.
we didn't.
They just
Utah
all
didn't
these
have a
other
name.
big names that Utah is just on the team now. Utah just signs all the big free agents.
Right.
They just build a whole completely new team.
I think that's mostly just been exciting. Like I said, they're new. The last time we did this podcast, Yeti was still the most likely name at that point. That was before the Yeti Cooler Company decided no fun for you, um, and now they are the Utah Mammoth.
People who like Yeti, you guys are losers, by the way.
Not as bad as the Stanley
It's
Cups.
not as bad as Stanley Cup people, but um. Okay, so another name I see on there, Quadru.
Yeah, you were about to talk
What
Claude
if
Giroux.
he goes to the Panthers to replace Sam Bennett?
I would
Comes back.
be excited about that. So here's an
Mm.
interesting statistics about Claude Giroux. In all of Panthers
Oh shoot! I think
history,
my internet just.
you're still here. Uh-oh. We lost him again, Vantage? Oh, no, he's
Yep, I'm
back.
back.
He's back. That was quick.
This time I'm a bit quick.
I was going to say,
Okay,
here's
what did you think about that?
here's an interesting statistic. In all of Panthers history, of every player who's played for the Panthers, no player has a higher point per game than Claude Giroux. He has a 1.28 point per game with the Panthers, higher than anyone else. The only other player with a point
Yeah,
per game in their career as a Panther is Matthew Tkachuk. So it's Matthew Tkachuk and Claude Giroux.
there we go. Claude Giroux's back, baby.
Even more
I'm
than
predicting.
Pavel Bure. That was kind of surprising. I thought he has the now Pavel Bure has the best goals per game, but
Hmm.
Giroux is top for the points per game. So yeah, Giroux can come back absolutely.
And he would probably be a lot cheaper
Yeah, definitely. I mean,
because he's old.
he probably ends up being a third line guy on this current Panthers roster. He was he was on when we in 20 in this on the President's Trophy team. He was a top line guy with Barkov and
Yeah,
Verhage, I
that was
believe.
the year like with Huberdeau and everything still.
Yes, because that was we got
Yes.
swept by Tampa in the second round, but we won our first series since
Yay!
1996.
What a see, the Maple Leafs are waiting to have those talks like, oh, we finally we made it to the second round. Now they're like, can we like wait go to the Eastern Conference Finals now or something?
Right. I feel like once the Maple Leafs break, well, it felt like once they made it past the first round, that was going to be the year they like broke it open. But they ran into the crazy 2023 Panthers who just beat the
And
Bruins in seven
Boston's.
games.
We want Florida.
That was what killed the Maple Leafs
Yep.
dynasty. Was that
Never do
chant?
that again.
They did do it again. They're so dumb. Oh, come on, guys.
All
So
right. So now, okay, sorry,
yeah,
but I
I
was
got
I
it.
was looking I was looking at the RFAs now.
So last year we saw the St. Louis Blues do two offer sheets with two Edmonton Oilers. That was Philip Broberg and Dylan Holloway, which now opens up the conversation. Are we going to see more offer sheets this offseason? Some of the biggest names out there are J.J. Paterka. He's been a lot of trade rumors. Evan Bouchard, I don't think he's going anywhere, but he is an
No, zero
RFA.
chance they let him.
Um, Marco Rossi has been another name that a lot of people do not expect him to stay in Minnesota. He had a pretty good year there. And then obviously another big name, Matthew Nyes, who did say he wants to stay in Toronto, but I don't know. Everyone says that. Matthew Tkachuk said he wanted to stay in Calgary before requesting a trade. So I don't know.
Yep. Wow, I did not realize JJ Perkirka was as good as he is.
He's good.
Yeah. I remember thinking he would be pretty good when he was drafted. I think I had him as like a first round pick. 2020, I was still doing mock drafts.
Yeah, he's turned out to be a pretty good player, and if he is in the right team, I think he could potentially be a star. Maybe not a Hart Trophy winner, but like like a top player.
Yeah, he's just kind of rotting in Buffalo,
As
like everyone in
everyone,
Buffalo.
everyone. I saw there was this horrible post. You feel bad for Buffalo fans all the time, pretty much.
Yeah.
But I saw this post that like four of the defensemen requested a trade, and I'm like,
Yikes! No.
like it's like the only person who wants to be on this team is Rasmus Dahlin. That's it.
Poor guy.
Oh my gosh.
But yeah, I think the tough thing with RFAs is like are teams willing to give up these? Now I think the reason why St. Louis like lucked out is because they offered the two guys like picks that they felt like they could move on from
Hmm.
comfortably. Because I think they only lost a second and a third, right? Or did they lose a first, second, and third?
I think it was that. I think it was a first,
Okay.
second, and third. But it wasn't a lot. I
And
mean, all things
yeah, they
considered.
made the playoffs, so it worked out for them in the end. Then they almost won too, but they
They were
blew a 3
one
1
goal
lead.
away. One goal away.
Yeah, they blew that 3-1 lead, the lead into overtime
Oh,
though, like the last few minutes.
that was the most epic game in a long time. That Winnipeg
Yeah.
tied it with it was like what? It was like
1 second. It was
1.3
1
seconds
second.
or some crazy thing like that. Oh
It's
man.
like 1 second, and they somehow lost it. But yeah, I think I don't know if Buffalo will let go of Paterka. Could they do a thing where they do a sign and trade, maybe?
That's more
Possibly.
likely.
And then Oh, I think I lost connection again.
Well,
Okay,
we're back.
I'm so sorry.
I can hear when you say I'm about to lose connection, so it's kind of funny.
It's so
You can like
for
predict
people to
it.
know if anybody's listening, which I'm sure we get a few people. With my internet with Discord for some reason, I can still talk and people can still hear me. I cannot hear him. He froze on my screen.
Uh,
So it leads to me thinking
Here we
either
go.
what's happening so I can tell immediately when like okay, it's gonna start. So
Here it comes.
that'll just lead to a bunch of just interrupting and not knowing when you're talking, and it'll just be silly for me to keep going. So I just do a quick disconnect, reconnect. Sometimes it helps, sometimes it doesn't.
It's worked so
So
far.
it's worse so far though. So I was just moving on to Marco Rossi now, unless you wanted to fill in more with Paterka.
No, let's talk about Marco Rossi.
Okay, so he is, according to the NHL.com, a center.
That is
Just
correct.
came off a 60-point season. I thought this guy might have been a bust like
It took
early
him a
on in his
while to break
career.
out.
But then it looks like now he's established himself at least as like a good second line center.
He will be the next Thomas Vanek
Thomas, I think he might even be better.
because he's
Maybe.
just from Austria. That's
Yeah. So instead of Thomas Vanek, people will be like, "Oh, it's Rossi."
it's good that there's more than one. We still have for
He,
Ukraine.
he
It's
doesn't,
still just Oh man, he played for the
Connor
Thrashers.
Rossi,
Yeah, that
Connor,
guy.
yeah, that guy. So when I saw his name, I was like, that sounds like a tennis name. It's not
Marco
hockey.
Rossi.
Yeah, it sounds like a either tennis or soccer name.
Yeah, but
But you know what? He's hockey.
he's hockey and he's a two-time 20-goal scorer. Has I
Hmm.
like that his seasons have been even, uh, 40 points and 60 points. So next year, 80-point season.
He
Place your
messed up
bets.
though. In 2022, 2023, he had one assist
Oh, you should blew it.
in 19 games. Ew.
Yeah, that's like you were saying he was looking like a bust, and I'd say that's a accurate um,
Well, I
thing.
mean, they weren't giving him much time on the ice, so I'll give him that much. You can't really do much when you're only playing 12 minutes a game. Probably playing like bottom 6 minutes. And your style of play kind of changes when you're a bottom sixer guy, and he's only like 5'9", and he's he's not a bottom six guy. He's a top six guy.
Yeah,
He scores the goals. You get him good wingers.
he's a skilled playmaker for sure. That's
Hmm.
kind of his role, and most people are expecting him to be more traded and not so much offer sheeted. And I think teams want to do that if they are expecting a player to lose a player. You're going to get more in a trade than you would in an offer sheet. You're going to get like one or two picks, and that's it. Versus
Hmm.
getting a player in return or anything like
Unless
that.
unless you get the team that sends you three first when you sign a guy to like the max amount.
There is a dog here.
I see the dog. Hey, Freya.
Go lay
I
down.
remember the name, right?
Yes, it's go lay down.
Good, good. I'm looking at their roster. Like, who's gonna replace as a second line center though?
That's a good question to ask. I don't know. They probably
So
want to find a way to get him back.
yeah, I think they'll sign him back. And now that Marc Andre Fleury's gone, we're gonna see more of the Wallstedt, one of my favorite prospect goalies.
Him
I want him.
and the guy the Predators traded the Sharks,
Askarov.
Askarov. It feels like we've been waiting for Wallstedt and Askarov to be top goalies in this league for years now. Like it has taken
It
them so long to
goalies
break out.
goalies take longer to break out though. I would feel like Fleury. It took him a long time before he turned into the elite goalie.
Tim Thomas barely played in the NHL and then
Yeah.
broke in when he was 29 and won the Vezina at 31. Like
Yes. goalies is like a whole different. Like you rarely see like a. I would say like the closest who quickly developed was Carey Price. I think like his development like skyrocketed. UC Saros, he spent so many years underneath Pecorine and
Right.
just developing in the minors before eventually Pecorine even. He took a while before turning into Pecorine. Like he was behind Vokoun before we traded him.
And the mighty Dan Ellis. Can't forget about him.
I don't think we drafted him. I don't know. I don't even know if he barely played for us. He was just in NHL 09. But
I don't know
Steve
why
Sullivan
that.
barely played for us.
For when we started following the hockey in 2008, I feel like the names just kind of stuck
Yeah,
with us from there, even though they weren't really
because
big
that game
players.
was our most nostalgic.
Oh man. Uh, but we've been talking about some younger players like JJ Paterka, Marco Rossi,
Mm.
Matthew Nyes. Keeping the a thought on upcoming stars, the draft. It's we were talking before we started recording that it might potentially be a weaker draft class this year. But
Still really
there's
good players though.
obviously there's going to be some good players. Uh, and the Islanders jumped up like crazy to get this first overall pick. I think they were originally picking like eighth or something like that. It was not
It's
that
rigged.
high. Well, I'll talk about this a little bit. The rigged thing. The NHL tried so hard to make it clear that they were not rigging it that they created the most boring draft live of all time because they were showing you exactly what, and everyone was confused, and the process is confusing. I'm going to try my best to explain it as simply as I can, but this it is
Good.
complicated.
I'm gonna learn because I don't know anything of what you're talking about.
So you have uh oh right, it's like 15 lottery balls numbered 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 through 15, and they take the whichever combinations are possible, which is a ton of different combinations. So like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is a combination. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 is a combination, and each one of those combinations is assigned to a team, and the team who finished worst gets the most amount of combinations assigned to them. Are you still following me?
I'm already lost, but keep going.
So every team is assigned a certain number of combinations, and whichever combination comes up first, and the team that's assigned that combination wins the lottery. So they showed the lottery balls coming up like whichever then they were, like five, and people are like, "Oh, does that mean the 15 month?" No, no, we still got to draw four more balls, then 13, and then 10, and then these weren't the numbers. I'm just eight, then seven. And so then okay, what do those numbers mean? What's happening? And then they go over who was assigned that thing, and they go the Islanders. Oh, what? And everyone was confused.
But they didn't explain it too well.
I think they explained it as well as I just did now. That it's each team is assigned a certain number of combinations. It's a really
Hmm.
weird way to do it. And they tried to show that it wasn't rigged, and I think they did do that. They showed like, here's the process. We're trying to be transparent, but it's such a confusing process that fans don't maybe not think it's rigged, but they think this is confusing and probably can be done better.
Yeah. Why can't so? How about just give teams more balls and put it in the giant?
That would be too many balls, I guess, right?
Too many. Make a bigger thing.
But I get what you're saying. Put like the logo on a ball,
Yeah,
and
that's more fun.
you put everything, and then you see which ball is it. Oh, it's this team. That probably would be more
Yeah.
fun. And it's somewhat similar, but the idea is that it's a smaller container, so it only fits 15 balls, and you do a combination thing. It's
Man, just do what the NFL does. Just no mock draft. Just no lottery.
no lottery. I mean,
Just,
teams
just the
still.
worst team gets the first overall pick, and they'll still suck.
I think, yeah, I don't. The idea was right, no tanking, right? But teams still are gonna, you know, do
Teams
what
are
they're
taken for the chance of getting a
right,
first overall pick. They'll it don't matter.
right.
Teams will tank.
But anyways, the Islanders did legitimately get the first overall pick because their assigned order was picked first. However you want to feel about that, it was legit, and they showed the transparency. Um, a lot of people expect them to take Matthew Schaefer, who honestly I don't remember seeing his name pop up in draft boards much at all. But he's considered an elite skater, a great two-way player. The biggest thing that happened with him is he got hurt this year. So if you look at his
Hmm.
statistics, he played 17 games for the Erie Otters. That's it, but did put up 22 points in those 17 games as a defenseman. Um, as I said, his main thing everyone puts about is that he's great at skating backwards. He's gonna be a good puck moving defenseman. He's gonna do it all. Uh, he's not gonna. I don't think he's gonna be Kale McCarr esque, but it kind of maybe more like probably like Rasmus Dahlin type deal, right? Because Dahlin's not really ever being considered for the Norris, but he's a top defenseman. So
Nah, this guy's gonna be Thomas Hickey
the next Thomas Hickey. That'd
or
be very
Zach
Islanders of them.
Zach Bogosian. Do you know the team that drafted Thomas Hickey though?
I have no idea because I would just think it was the
It was
Islanders.
Nope, it was the Los Angeles
Ah,
Kings.
yes, of course. Everyone knows that, really.
Yeah, he was involved in one of those big defenseman trades. I forget which one though. You
Yeah.
know, like remember when Eric Johnson got traded for like Kevin Shattenkirk, like that one of those type of trades.
Okay. But a lot of people expect them to pick a defenseman is because they've already got Matthew Barzell as a top center. Because typically, the first round picks, teams love to pick centers, your future center. But if the Islanders choose to draft a guy, we can talk more about him, like Michael Misa or James Higgins. They're basically, I mean, that's saying Matthew Barzell, you're probably not going to be our number one center. And I think Barzell still has the potential to
I
be.
don't think that means that. I mean, when the Montreal drafted Slavkovsky first overall, I don't think that was a message to Suzuki. We're replacing you with.
But he's a winger.
I think you're just well. He wasn't when he was drafted. I think
Oh, well, now you know.
so. You could draft someone like Michael Misa and then flip him to the wing,
Or put
and
Barzell
then
on the
even
wing.
I think Barzell also plays wing sometimes. I think I've seen him as a right winger.
I think Barzell would be a great right winger, like that speed
Hmm.
and the scoring. But yeah, Michael Misa, great option at number one if they choose to go with him. He just had a 134-point season with the Spirit. Overall, just a very strong offensive player, and he always
Hmm.
has been. And he's not like
Definitely the best offensive player I think in this draft.
right, and he's not small either, right? He's 6'1". I mean, he's not the hugest guy, but 6'1" ain't tiny either. Um,
Yeah,
I think Michael Misa was typically considered like number one for a while, along with
I remember a while ago there was like because he was one of those like
oh
Aaron
yes,
Black.
he
Yeah,
was given exceptional status, so he could join
hmm
the CHL 1 year younger. You're right.
yeah. So this was projected like to be his draft, but like he's still like putting up numbers like okay, this guy's a clear cut number one, but when you get like a defenseman who's really good at the skating, like basically someone who could be your power play quarterback
Mm-hmm.
on the power play, because that's really important to have in your power play. If you don't have like your good number one defenseman, you're gonna suck. And I think for the Islanders, I think it's Noah Dobson right now.
Noah Dobson kind of like broke out last season,
Hmm.
and the thing for the Islanders is like, do you want to move forward with Noah Dobson being your number one defenseman, or do you think Schaefer might be better fit for it? Or you can have two
Or
good power play
just have
options.
both.
Yeah.
Just have both. Uh,
One of the bigger
I have.
here, this is a real quick point, I promise. One
Mhm.
of the bigger Islanders reporters is Michael Bartner. I believe that's how you say his name. and he actually thinks they should like draft Schaefer and trade Dobson. And I'm like, I don't get that at
Mhm.
all. Just have them
What's the point?
both. Like, I guess it's kind of like thinking like, well, that whole Buffalo having multiple top defensemen isn't really working for them, so maybe that's the thought. I don't know.
Well, their problem is they're all left-handed, I think, also. So it's kind of awkward. I don't know how awkward it is, but I feel like teams with mostly left-handed defensemen don't end up doing well. I know Toronto had that problem for a while. Like they just had like one right-handed guy, and then all five were like lefties.
So it's actually an interesting point you bring up there. So Florida was having that issue for most of the season. We had Aaron Ekblad as our only right-handed defenseman until we traded for Seth Jones,
Yeah,
and our defense has been so much better with having that good 1-2 option with two. We still have a bottom six or top six, I guess you should say top six. That's two left-handed defensemen, but having those two
I feel like
righties is good.
that's more like thing. But when you have like multiple, I feel like it just leads to more like awkward stuff when you're setting up on 5-on-5s
Yeah,
and stuff because you have someone. Because just think about it, you're left-handed and you're in the right side of the boards. You have to do this whole thing.
right.
You instead of just gritting it and then flipping it right away.
Right. It doesn't set up you for
You have to get it and
success.
set up. You have a couple of seconds where a winger can just attack you. So I think, but I think either whoever the Islanders pick, they're just happy they got the first overall pick. I
Exactly,
think.
yeah. And they're gonna
Like,
have a new GM, so he gets
mm-hmm.
to have the first overall pick. I mean, he could either make a great pick or blow it right away. It'll be
Yeah, because you never know. Because will this be a draft situation where Michael Misa's Nail Yakupov and Ryan Murray is Matthew Schaefer, the 1-2 punch,
oh man, it could
or
happen.
maybe
You never know.
you could get a draft like 2014 where all of them go to the Panthers eventually.
Maybe. One other potential guy that people are thinking that might fit for the Islanders is a guy who is from that area, James Higgins. He played at the NCAA level this year. He finished point per game, 37 points in 37 games. He's a shorter player at 5'10", but that's been proved to not be an issue as long as you're strong offensively. Um,
Jack Hughes.
Jack Hughes, absolutely. And he has been Team USA's top line center at the World Juniors, and they just won. They've not only won the World Junior Cup. I'm not sure if he played with this USA team that just won the World Championships, but I think he just did the junior one. But still, on that team, he was the number one center, helping that team win the World Junior Cup gold. So he clearly can compete, and it would be interesting because he's a hometown guy. But I feel like if you do that, you're kind of just going for the story because I think Misa or Schaefer would be better picks.
Yeah. Um, I think I found actually who should go number one.
Okay.
Do you remember the player Vernon Fiddler?
Yes, vaguely.
He
The
was on the Panthers, I
he
think, for a little bit.
he get I kind of get him confused with another guy who was played mostly for the Coyotes.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, I can't remember. I don't think it's
But
Fiddler. Oh
yeah.
wait, no. Well, it starts with a V.
Oh,
Vadim Verbata. Radim Verbata.
Verbata. Oh, that's a weird one. But
Anyways,
apparently Vernon Fiddler's son is in this
all
draft.
right.
Blake Fiddler.
He's got to go to Utah.
He's a late he's projected as late first round, but I just found that funny. Like, oh my gosh, we're getting old. All the players we used to know in NHL '09, now their
They have
kids are in the
children.
league. Yeah, I that's very funny. I just had to bring that up because I was like, I remember Vernon Fiddler. I remember we acquired him back for a playoff run. I was like back in the 2015, 2014 era.
Yeah.
Probably 2015, 2016, if I had to guess. But with James Higgins, I doubt they'll bring him first overall.
No, that's someone you like would trade
Yeah.
down to get if you really wanted to.
Yeah. He might go, he'll probably go like third, top five.
And beyond those three, it kind of gets kind of like wavery. Like these guys are definitely those are definitely the three options to number one. It feels like, um, but and then it kind of just gets murky from there. There's one guy that I'm kind of excited about, and maybe it's just because his name is so close to one of the Panthers players,
Yeah.
Anton Frondell, not Anton Lundell, Anton Frondell. He's been over in the Swedish top league. Playing actually high level minutes over there. Um, he
Well, I don't know
finished
if he's in the top league. Is he in the top league?
Hockey Alfiskin.
That's the top league? I thought it was the SHL.
Oh, it's you might be right. Oh, I forget that. So the Swedish league works like the Premier League in soccer, where teams can
Yeah.
get relegated. Um, so technically, he played in the second tier league, but it's not like the minor leagues. He's still playing against the top competition. It's just that
Yeah, okay.
his team got relegated to Aki Alvidsson. That's not his fault, right? Um, he's still playing against men. This is not a minor league. It's still considered a top professional league. He finished with 25 points in 29 games, which I think is impressive.
Yeah.
And
That is really good. Especially for in Sweden, yeah.
yeah, I forget that regulation promotion thing
Sorry.
can get really complicated if you aren't familiar with it.
Yeah.
So
And
it,
I'm looking at the just to bring up some other
yeah,
names
sure.
since we've only had I have not paid too much attention to this draft, but I do see some names that I recognize a little bit. Roger McQueen, I think, is one. I think he's a center for the Brandon Wheat Kings. He's I think he's another player who just like had an injury, which probably
Yep, he only played 17
is
games as
making him
well.
pretty low. So he played some games in the playoffs, but yeah, so but he's still projected to be he's 6'5". He's a
Big
center.
boy.
Oh.
Elite
So
Prospects has him
no,
ranked number 5 in this draft.
yes. Then there's another name,
Porter
Porter Martone.
Martone,
He was the captain of the Brampton Steelheads. Got 98 points.
37 goals.
Yeah, he's projected to be, I think, I see a lot of thirds. I see a second. So definitely top 10
No
pick.
way he's
So
going
really good
number
winger.
2. No way he's going
I
number
know.
2.
I see someone ranked him at number 2. It's
That's
crazy.
crazy. He's not. If so, if the I now if the Islanders do pick Michael Misa at number 1, it is
Hmm.
possible that Matthew Schaefer falls a little bit because those teams might have been thinking, "Hey, we're going to get Michael Misa at 2." And so then they're like, "Oh, well, we not can't shift to a defenseman now. We're going to have to take uh, James Hagen or Porter Martone, another forward, someone like that."
Man, my computer really does not like Elite Prospects, or Elite Prospects website just sucks because it is
It
not
is
responding all the
it
time.
is full of ads if you don't pay for elite prospects, which I don't anymore. I used
I
to,
have
and I miss it.
I have
But
ads turned off. I have ad block, and it's
they get
still
through.
doing
They get
horrible.
through. They get through. It's
It is so bad.
like I said. I used to pay for elite prospects, and that was the good old days because it is a tough
Oh
website
yeah.
to use without having the premium.
Yeah, and then some other names we got Brady Martin for the Sioux Greyhounds. 57 games, 33 goals, 39 assists, 72 points. Oh, this guy's name looks epic. Caleb Denoyers.
Probably just
Eighty-
I think it's they know because it's French. I don't know.
yeah, yeah. Then in Sweden we got another guy who's in the same league as Anton Frondell.
On the same team actually.
Oh, a teammate. Yeah, so his teammate Victor Eklund. I wonder if he's related to the Sharks Eklund. Let's see.
Elite prospects, if it works for you, can tell you that.
Yes, it is. His brother
Is
is
William
William Eklund
Eklund.
of the Sharks.
So San Jose's got to
So
take him.
the so San Jose's got to take him. For some reason, they haven't fired their GM yet.
It's a
It's another
career
team
though.
where they're not improving. They're not improving though. There's no like improvements. They're still in dead last all the time.
I give them 2 more seasons. I'd say 2 more
Oh my
years.
gosh. Maybe we'll finish fifth last.
I mean, do you feel that way about Chicago as well? Are they on the hot seat?
Yeah, they just fired their coach and replaced him with another
Oh
just
yeah,
random name.
the
The Detroit guy who sucked, Jeff Blashill.
I saw. So I'm in a hockey group chat with Lightning and Panther fans. It's been an interesting one. And
That
when
is interesting.
they saw that the Lightning fired Blashill, they were
Mhm.
rejoicing. They were so happy he was leaving their team. I'm like, that is not good.
Oh yeah, Jeff Blashill. I don't think has had success anywhere. He was when Mike Babcock got either released or fired from Detroit. He was like the Grand Rapids, like, oh, he's developing all the prospects who go to Detroit. He's gonna do so good. Missed the playoffs, missed the playoffs, missed the playoffs, missed the playoffs, and because the NHL is so like boys clubsy, they're
Yeah,
gonna return the same guys every time. So I feel bad for. I kind of feel bad for Chicago fans, just a little. I don't care though.
it was kind of exciting. The Denver Pioneers, that's the NCAA, the Denver Pioneers coach, who's won 2 NCAA championships, and Denver's always a competing team. People were expecting
Mhm.
NHL teams to go after him, and he said, "I don't wanna. I don't want to go to the NHL," which is interesting.
Smart.
He apparently was interviewed by the Ducks, and then decided he wasn't interested. So I don't
Why would
know.
you want to go to the Ducks? They suck.
Yeah. They made a controversial coaching decision, by the way. I don't know if you saw that.
Yes.
Joe Quenneville is back in the NHL, um, which the NHL reinstated him, I believe it might have just been 1 year ago, possibly 2 years ago. So that option has been there for teams, but most were like,
Someone.
But Anaheim, I guess they're like, we're going to deal with the fan fallout and sign Quenneville. It'll be interesting to see how Anaheim does this year.
It will be interesting. You know what else is interesting? I just realized the Panthers have 3 first-round picks. The Predators, I mean.
But I'll say the not the Panthers. No way.
Yeah, I forgot we have Tampa from I think that was the they
Oh,
traded everything for what's his name? Tanner
Tanner
Jeannot.
Jeannot. He's not even on the team anymore.
And then we have a pick from Vegas who I think we got from San Jose from the
Askarov
Askarov
trade.
trade.
That's right. Yeah, I mean, you
So we
guys
got
have the number 5 pick. I mean, there's going to be someone good there.
dude, we're gonna get someone so good and they're gonna bust as soon as they get to our team because we cannot develop forwards at all. All
I
of our forwards are looking like duds.
You got Philip
We
Forsberg,
have Philip Forsberg.
who
That's
was
it.
a Capitals draft pick.
We got Philip Forsberg, and we developed him though. They did not
That's
develop him.
fair.
We did. We developed him.
Oh
So
man,
those are one forward we could develop. And now Tomasino, um, Evangelista or whatever. He had a bad year. Tommy Novak down year. All these prospects, we keep getting forward prospects. They keep bust. They're just bust. So hopefully, with the 5th overall pick, we could draft someone. And hopefully, not a defenseman. We don't need more defensemen. You have Yossi and Skay and maybe a right-handed one if he's available. But I don't know if this draft has strong right-handed defensemen. Unless Radam Murka is one. He is. He's 6'6" too. Draft him. That's who I want. Radam Murka.
there are some mock drafts saying James Higgins fall to 5. That'd be an exciting pick for Nashville.
I wouldn't mind that.
He
I
because
just want someone who sounds cool. Draft Carter Bear.
what position does he play?
He's a winger.
So he's not a
Get
defenseman like his brother. All right.
Yeah, and his other brother's Ethan. Yeah, get him back, dude. what are these goalie names? Joshua Ravensburger, Bergen,
Kayshawn
Elijah
Aitchison.
Elijah Newshwander. I'm gonna send you this name in chat, and I want you to describe. I want you to pronounce it.
Okay. That looks very German.
It's Swiss. He's Swiss.
Well, that's the same thing.
I know.
That might be offensive to say, but
I just meant to say he's from Switzerland.
Neuenschwander. I think that's pretty good.
Neuenschwander. That's pretty good.
Neuenschwander.
And then this was the other guy. He's the top ranked North American goalie from Canada. Ravensburgen.
That's a fun name.
I hope he's a good goalie. Just so
his stats
an announcer
aren't
has
the
to
best.
say that.
3 goals against. I mean, I know it's.
Is he tall? Is he tall though?
What is he? Is he tall? 6'5".
That's usually what. Yep. So that's why he's the number 1 rated goalie.
He tall. That means he's good,
tall.
right?
He can move. Oh yeah, he's the number 1 ranked goalie.
Oh man.
Well, I think we're spiraling, and I think we did go through all of our topics.
We went through all our topics. We got back into the swing of things. The Stanley Cup Final is Wednesday. There is a lot more that's going to happen. Absolutely. You normally like to end our podcast by asking a question that isn't hockey related. Do you want to do that?
Ooh, that's right. What is your soda of choice right now? Because I am loving this one called Cheerwine. What is your soda of choice?
It's just classic Pepsi right now. Not.
If you had to pick a soda, you just pick Pepsi?
That's what I've been doing. You walk into the gas station, I'm grabbing a Pepsi. That's what I do. Maybe a cherry Pepsi if I'm feeling fancy.
Whoa, okay. Calm down. I've been trying like a lot of the new, like Walmart, because I'm usually at Walmart because I have to either pick up prescriptions or what's it called? Do my grocery shopping. What's it called? Grocery shopping. So I'm at there usually, and I usually see like these crazy flavors now that like Mountain Dew is doing. Like they have just an orange soda Mountain Dew, and then these other random ones. So I always tried them. I think their orange soda is pretty good though.
I used to do that when we worked at Winn-Dixie. I tried all
Winn-Dixie
this.
Made it so easy.
By the way,
they're the reason why I got the 300 pounds. Those 1.5 liter sodas for $1.
My local Winn-Dixie is closing down.
No.
Yeah. All of them actually are.
Peace.
They're all gotten bought out by Aldi's.
Aldi's, dang.
But me and Chelsea have started shopping at Aldi's, and it is pretty good. So we're going to be all right.
I heard it's pretty good. From what I can tell, working there does not sound fun.
I think that's why everything is so cheap there, is that there's very little workers, is what I've noticed.
It's very... I did an interview with Aldi's, and they put it very direct, like, okay, you are working all these shifts, so you have to do everything. You have to learn everything,
right?
And we'll put you... They told me it's like a German-based system that they run on.
It is a German company.
Yeah, so it makes sense why they run their business like that. And when you are working in America, where a lot of people are kind of... I don't feel like going to work today. I'm going to take a nap. I don't think that system...
But I was going to say, it's kind of telling that you're saying you kind of have to learn everything. And that's what I kind of experienced. So you don't have someone who's just a cashier. You have someone who's a cashier who also works in the back, who also organizes the things. So yeah, that's probably why their stuff is a little bit cheaper, because they have less workers doing all the tiny things.
And they don't really do brand names. They don't do brand names.
No, it's weird stuff that you've never heard of before.
Yeah, that's always safe.
But anyways, I'm an Aldi shopper now, and
congratulations. I'm a Walmart. I haven't left Walmart. I'm still going to Walmart.
And the next time you hear from us, the Panthers will hopefully be up in the Stanley Cup Final Series. We will see.
Or maybe it'll be a bi-weekly podcast and we'll talk they win, after they lose or win. You never know, because there might be no news that happened.
We will see, and you will know. I am Brett.
Nolan.
See you guys next time.